So that was very insightful, and so was the journey that you shared. But now we're going to move on to something even more lighter and more fun, right? So our next segment is called the demonstration round. Okay. So in this round, you're going to either show us something that you, in terms of a skill that you enjoy, right? So maybe you sing. We know you sing. You may not want to sing today, which is fine, which is absolutely fine. But we know you sing, and jazz being your favorite genre. You also composed, I think, a song for your father on his 80th birthday. Is that right? So if you want to read, maybe not sing, but maybe read a couple of lines from there, you can do that. You want to show us something around the house that you enjoy, that you're welcome to do that.
Okay, I told you I wasn't going to sing, but today's Father's Day.
Yeah.
And don't expect very much at all.
Not at all.
You know, practice now is sore throat. This is why I wasn't going to do it.
Tanisha, please don't join. Tanisha, please don't join in.
I'll try not to. I'll try not to join because I don't know the lyrics.
She doesn't know the song. She doesn't know the song because I composed it and it's not public.
So please go ahead. Can't wait.
When I was a girl, you were hard at work. Never complained the roads were rough. They'd beg you to save them, too much to bear. So lightly you'd wear your cloak of care. You taught me to fight and leave my body on that field, to reach for great heights, to fall, to bruise, not to yield, because winners keep falling and fail till they rise again. If I must quit, I learned that losing can soften within. And then as I grew, you let me know I'd be a woman who could say no. Freed me from fear, looked death in the eye. Make this moment count, all else is a lie. Strong as a rock, not once did I ever doubt. When my father's around, I never go without. You kept us all close with your joking ease. With all that strength, you're still such a gentle breeze. So there's more, but I'll leave that for when I can start lower and hit the high notes.
Oh, there is thundering applause. Unfortunately, you can't hear it because our participants are on mute, Karuna. But that was
thank you.
So beautiful. I think this is something any of us will relate to, you know, when it comes to our fathers. So as I was thinking of my dad, and you know, my dad was in the Merchant Navy, so he was away most of the time. And the part that you said that, you know, he taught you that a girl can say no. And I think we're so fortunate, right, to have been raised by men who had the courage and conviction to raise strong women.
Yes.
That's luck. That's truly luck.
Yeah, and also I think you know, it's interesting that my father's strengths, my father's positive qualities are very traditionally male, but he also raised me to be a strong woman and to be a feminist, actually, you know.
Wow. What do you mean by his qualities are very traditionally male? Give me an example, please.
Like, you know, if you think about the song and the strength and the provider aspect and all of that, and the fact that he was always at work, my father's a surgeon.
Okay.
And, you know, and I think particularly in these times, it's very apparent, and we really value the fact that where our doctors are sort of putting themselves at risks and going into work. And my father's, he's at the moment he's fractured his knee, but otherwise he's been doing that every single day when some of his juniors didn't want to come in,
Right.
And I think that those very traditionally male traits are what traditionally male traits? Those traits that are thought of as traditionally male, right?
You're saying the
Strength,
provider, the
beauty,
guy who goes to work.
valor, courage.
Right.
We want our girls and our boys to have these traits, right? It's not that we don't want our men to have these traits.
Correct.
So yeah.
Lovely. He clearly injected these into his daughter. So well done, Mr.
That really means a lot.
Well done, Mr. Nundy. Please let him know.
Doctor,
I
will.
He's watching. Super. So happy Father's Day to your dad, Karuna, and to all the fathers who are watching right now.
To every single father who has been valued and who has raised their kids and loved their kids, every single father of everyone who's watching their show, happy Father's Day.
Thank you. That's wonderful, Karuna. Thank you for singing. That was amazing. I would love to hear the rest of it maybe another time. So we're going to move on to our third segment, which is called the interrogation. Now, this is the part where you need to be, I can see that you're very quick-witted, and I can see that you think on your feet and that you have no inhibitions. So I don't need to set the rules. I'm just going to say, be yourself, Karuna, and answer these. The only rule is you have to answer them really rapidly, okay? You can't take...
But you don't have a hamper, Tanisha. What's up with that?
It's lockdown time. I don't want to send some Corona wrapped in, in a coffee tin to you. Okay.
Okay, fair
I'll
point.
be safe for now, but it'll come. Something interesting will come to you once things open up. This I can promise you. From IDEX and the grey matter, pakka. It'll happen. Okay. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ready? Okay. Okay. Your first question then, Karuna, and this is making me laugh already. If Karuna Nundy woke up as a man tomorrow morning, what is the first thing he would do?
I would walk around Delhi. I would sort of walk around Delhi as not a Delhi girl and as not a Delhi woman,
Wow.
Because I've been a girl and a woman here, right?
Correct.
And not have people staring at me and enjoy the sort of physicality of space.
Nice. That's a good one. Okay. The next one then. So Karuna, are you an introvert or an extrovert?
I'm an ambivert. I think I get energy from quiet reflection and from people. So I need both.
You need both. But do you have a button that goes on and off as per requirement? Does that also happen?
I can be an extrovert whenever I want. So I can switch it on. But I'm not nourished if I'm only with other people. I need to spend time alone as well.
Okay. Understood. All right. Your next question. You applied to law school, film school, and journalism school. And then, of course, you picked law school, as you've said in one of your interviews, because it came through first, right? What do you think would have happened to Karuna Nundy, had film school replied sooner?
Would they have funded it? If they were funding it, then...
Assume they funded. Assume they agreed that they funded.
I would have been a filmmaker. I don't know if I would have been a good filmmaker, but I would have been a filmmaker, I think. And I think it might have lasted.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very interested in film.
Really?
And I think it really has a huge impact on people, So, for example, if, Tare Zameen Par and what that did for dyslexia, and other films and what they've really done for particular issues and how they've shifted minds. Even a film like Tannu Weds Manu, right? Where, Kangana Ranaut played a certain kind of character, and I watched it in the theater.
Okay.
And the guys were laughing and the girls were laughing and, the women were laughing, the men were laughing, everybody was laughing. Right. And I think that kind of thing does shift minds, So I think I would have possibly been a filmmaker, yeah.
You would have been a filmmaker. So you'd be behind the camera, not in front of it.
As I said, I'm a very average actor. I would have been behind the camera.
But have you done like any short films or anything, in the training years and such? Is there
I
any?
did a bunch of plays with Yatrik, with Barry John, which is where Shah Rukh Khan started. I did do a short film, but I can't even remember the name now. Yeah, a few things
Little
during
bit.
college.
Okay, nice. That's interesting. Okay, so my next question then. This is I'm waiting to hear this one. Okay, ever since I knew you're coming on the show, I wanted to ask you this. Can you tell us any 3 statements that we tend to make without even realizing how deeply embedded in patriarchy they are?
The legal fraternity, or the fraternity of citizens. Frat refers to brothers.
Okay.
What about the sisters? You know?
Okay.
A seminal work. You know? Seminal comes from semen, frankly. So there's no need to say that.
Right.
You can say foundational work, for example. Every single time we refer to a he and presume that it also means a she. This is really rubbish. That's too good.
That is true. Yeah, like even in school we were taught, no, God is he. He is watching.
Right.
He is watching.
Were you taught that? That's ridiculous.
We were taught that.
Especially in India. Yeah.
So tell me, no, in the larger Indian context, forget the legal fraternity. In the larger Indian context, what are these statements we tend to make? You think?
3. I've just given you 3.
3 more, please.
But you know, I mean, I think much of language is gendered, right? Because if you are thinking as the default human being as being a man, and it's all throughout your language, right? Then that's going to inform everything else. So I just think that once you stop saying the he as the default, that just sort of takes you a step back. So for example, I stopped saying, or rather I'm training myself to completely stop saying guys. Like, hello, hi guys, you know?
Correct.
To say like the best alternative I fixed on is hi folks, which is a bit folksy, but
yeah, that's a bit more old school, but it's still, you're right, it's far more gender neutral that way.
Yeah.
Yes, true. Okay, that's interesting. We can move on to the next question. Can you tell us any 3 books you would recommend when someone's trying to get a grip and better understanding of what feminism is?
I think Seeing Like a Feminist by Nivedita Menon. I would really like the lawyers to read a critical gender theory book that, not books so much, but there's the Feminist Judgments Project, where people are rewriting judgments as feminist judgments. And there's a branch in India, and it's all over the world. It's very easy to find. I think it's very interesting. It'd be very interesting to read that. This is such an important question that it's...
Take your time.
I don't think it's the top 3 at all, but you know, I read Anjana Appachana's Listening Now.
Okay.
And it's about motherhood. And you know how I think motherhood is absolutely an incredibly wonderful, special thing. But I also think it's valorized a lot, you know? And I think it's important for girls to read that when they're teenagers, when they're young, because this idea of, and also Jeffrey Eugenides' is The Marriage Plot.
Okay.
Because there's a way in which you're trained, very deeply, very, very strongly trained, to believe that your biggest achievement is marriage and kids, you know?
Yes.
And it might be. I think that these can be absolutely wonderful things, but it can't be the default biggest achievement.
Correct.
Because that is where people then get into trouble. You know?
You're right. And a lot
do it for the wrong reasons, do it without sufficient power in the relationship, and then get swallowed up by it. So I think these 2 books I would recommend to sort of young girls to read, and also young men to read, so that you can also deconstruct from these
That's helpful because you're right. A lot of women do in India today, even today, attach a lot of how successful they are notionally in society, basis whether they've been married by a certain age or not, have they born children by a certain age or not. So it's very helpful that you've shared these.
But it's also, see, it's not just, I don't think it's right to just, because we both did it, just to ascribe the responsibility to women. It's a responsibility as a society, because there's a sort of patriarchal privilege that comes with marriage. You know? Marriage is also the site of a lot of violence and a lot of abuse. So that patriarchal privilege is somewhat notional. So I think kind of deconstructing out of all of that and having two people coming to a relationship in a celebratory and equal way that also includes queer people having, marriage or civil partnerships and expanding the way in which you can relate. I think that's really important.
Very well said. Thank you, Karuna. That's helpful. Okay, my next question for you is, what is your favorite social media platform and why? Because we know you're pretty active on social media. So which is your favorite one?
The reason that I got onto Twitter was because of the Shreya Singhal case.
Okay.
Because otherwise I was of the clear opinion that Twitter slices your brain into 140 characters each. Right. And once you're in, you can't leave. But no, it wasn't just that. The reason I stayed is because I saw the kind of impact that it can have in terms of communicating to the sort of our citizenry constitutional ideas, and that's the reason I stayed. So I think Twitter is very much, it's something I engage with, as you said, a fair bit. And I think it's important. But do I like it the most? No.
So you're most active there, which is okay, but it's not your favorite platform.
But see, Instagram, I'll post once in a while, but everyone's so nice. I really like it.
Yeah, Instagram is, everything's just very happy on Instagram. Twitter has...
But there's bullying. Apparently, it's nice for us, but for younger people, there's a lot of bullying. There's a lot of body shaming. There's all that sort of thing also. So it's just like we can't be blind to it because it's nice for us.
But I think that's anyway social media at large, it's got its own perils and the impact on mental health, and all of that dialogue is a whole different dialogue to be had another time perhaps. So which one are you picking, Twitter or Instagram?
I guess Twitter.
You picked Twitter then. Okay, we have a winner. Well done. Okay,
your toxic family member you can't get rid of,
Your next question, Karuna, which is the funniest hashtag you've seen of late online?
I can't think. And there are lots of Trump ones that have come up recently on US Twitter. Even today, actually, but I can't think of it.
Can I tell you one? I found it really funny.
Yeah, go on.
Hashtag married but not sorry. And I'm like, what?
Okay.
So yeah, there's funny stuff people come up with. Okay, your next question then. If you could eat only one meal for the rest of your life, okay, what would it be?
Chapati dal sabzi.
Chapati dal sabzi. And is there a particular sabzi or any sabzi?
No, I mean, I'm so bored of chapati dal sabzi, but if I had to eat it for the rest of my life, this is all I would eat, because I couldn't actually just eat other stuff. I couldn't eat pasta every day.
Correct. Agreed. Okay, super. Your next question, what is your favorite book and a movie of all time that you really enjoy?
I think that's a really tough question, because there's so many books bring you so many different things, but I mentioned The Marriage Plot by Jeffrey Eugenides, and I just thought that was really, really good. Just really, really good work and eye-opening. In terms of films, again, nowhere near my favorite picture of all time, my favorite movie of all time, but Thappad was so good. It was just so good.
It was very good. I agree. Yes, Thappad was really good. Okay. Your next question, what is the most dangerous or daring or courageous thing you've ever done?
speaking and litigating in this environment, it takes a lot.
I'm sure it does. Okay, well done. Moving on. What is your favorite childhood memory, Karuna?
I think walking back from swimming, and my mother used to just let us do whatever we liked and like run around in the campus. And she was, I don't know if one could do it today, but she was very relaxed about that. Walking back from swimming, and my mother had made mango milkshake, and I just thought that, oh my God, she's really the best mother in the world.
That is endearing.
So
And yet,
impressed.
but it's true today also, right? Any mother whipping up a mango milkshake is definitely the best mother in the world.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, my next question then. How would 10-year-old Karuna react to what you do today professionally?
I mean, I'd be blown away. I was completely unambitious.
Really?
Completely.
Wow.
In fact, I had this, I thought that I would be in a mid-sized company, the husband and children, and for some reason wearing an ill-fitting pink suit. I think that was the acme of my
Yes,
ambition.
you have mentioned the pink suit earlier as well in one of your
Yeah,
other.
it was there. It was just like the vision was there, you know.
Have you worn a pink suit though ever? Since it was a vision, did you go ahead and fulfill that?
No. Ooh, no.
Okay. The next question then, what do you do to keep fit, Karuna?
Not enough. Especially during lockdown, it's been terrible.
Correct.
But I used to walk with my dog quite a lot, and I do floor exercises sometimes.
Okay. Okay, super. Which song instantly gets you to the dance floor? Like if I played it right now, you'd just get up and start moving. I'm not going to play
Not
it.
if you played it right now,
No,
but,
I promise.
but a large number of songs. You know, a large number of songs will do this. Bollywood,
Bollywood.
pop, like rock, like all sorts of songs.
So all sorts. So basically, you're a dancer. You'll dance.
Yes.
We'll keep this in mind for the next season. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Super. The next question then: if you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Misogynist, zip up now. I know zip. No, that sounds really bad. No, misogynist. Misogynist, beware.
Beware. Okay. 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 Super. I hope they've all made notes and they are going to be aware if they were to meet with you.
No, they are already. It's just something that I just have very little tolerance for now. I mean, I used to engage a lot more before, but now I'm just bus.
Okay. You just shut them down now very quickly.
Not shut the person down, but shut the line of line of speech down. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. Okay. The next question then: what is the one thing you've done? You've done it, but you've sworn never to do it again.
I think giving too much leeway and compassion to toxic behavior.
To toxic behavior. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah, that's healthy boundary setting, isn't it? And very important for self-preservation.
I think very important for fairness, for self-preservation, for just like who you are in the world, you know.
True.
And who the way the world, you know, according to you should be. Right?
Agreed, fully. Okay. Your next question then: if you have a magic wand, and you can change any law you like in just an instant, what law would you change?
The IPC.
The IPC. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you too much about detailing that out for me because it's going to be a whole vast conversation. So
it would go on for hours.
I can imagine. So but good to know that it's the IPC. Okay. What has lockdown taught you about yourself? Any one thing you've learned, like something new?
That I have everything I need.
Beautiful. Okay. That is so good to hear. Now tell us one professional person, like on the work front that you've met, who you had a fixed opinion of, okay? And then you met this person and suddenly you were like, oh my God, I was wrong the entire time, whether positive or negative change. You don't have to name the person. You can just tell us. No, actually, you have to name the person. Sorry, you have to name the person.
I mean, there was a senior counsel who's a very accomplished senior counsel who's a woman, and I mean, she always seemed a bit sort of cut and dried. I got to know her, and she's just an absolutely lovely person. So that's just been nice.
Okay, super. Do you want to name her?
Sure, Rebecca Marman John. She's great.
Super. Thank you. Okay, the next question then. If you could teach future generations only one thing, just one, what is that one thing you would teach them?
The ability to walk in someone else's shoes.
Wow. Okay.
Because I think that climate change and the disaster that's looming has become so much more real after this pandemic and the realities of this pandemic, right? I mean, this pandemic looks like a disaster movie that you wouldn't believe could happen. And I think climate change has the same thing, is bringing the same thing. But I think that if we do that, then, and if we understand the farmers who are going to suffer, and the women in particular, because of what climate change is bringing, and if that means that we must consume less, you know, I think that can be the answer to a large number of ills.
Okay, that's super. So walk in another's shoes. That's the one. Nice. And your last question, and this one is, it's got an ulterior motive. Who do you, now that you've gone through the entire Unsuited journey for an hour and a half, who would you recommend as our guest for another episode, maybe? Somebody.
Rebecca.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. Or, you know who I would love to hear from is Justice Ruma Pal.
Okay. And do you think that judges will be open to doing this? Are they even allowed? Do you think they'll be allowed?
She's a former Supreme Court judge. She hasn't done much. I mean, a lot of judges are doing interviews.
Okay.
Or Justice Lokur, maybe?
Yes. Okay.
But I would love to hear from Justice Pal, because she had such a positive impact, you know, on all of us women who were in court at the time, because there was a brilliant woman in a position of, in a recognized position of ability, that could be referred to, right? And if there are very few women, inevitably that's how it works. So she had a very positive impact for all of us.
For all of you. Okay, super. Thanks for those names. And thank you for joining us today. It's been wonderful getting to know you a little better, Karuna. And I'm sure our
audience... It's been so much fun. Thank you. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to answer any questions, but send them to me on, let's just do a few, because I just don't think it's fair otherwise. You know, I think a number of people want to ask questions. So let's just do a very, very quick run through.
Okay, come on, let's do this. So
there are more than 50 questions. It's been insane. We've never seen so many questions ever.
Okay, I'm just trying to see what is...
So we treat it as a rapid fire. Pick it random, read it out, and I'll answer it.
Ma'am, what is your advice to budding lawyers?
Get a business model. You're an entrepreneur as much as you're a lawyer. Recognize that, and from the get-go.
Okay.
Sad, pragmatic, but I think this is the most important advice I can give.
As a human rights professional and lawyer, how do you stay motivated to keep fighting and avoid getting jaded or cynical?
This is an extremely important question, and I think you have to tap into all sorts of things to reach that hope, because it is true that, as Martin Luther King said, that the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice. However, it will only bend towards justice if we work and push and strategize to bring it there. And so for all of us to reach and dig deep within ourselves, and to also link with other people who are enriched with visions that bring hope, is absolutely fundamental.
Okay, this one is of personal interest to me, so I'm going to ask you again, ma'am. What do you think of the way forward for transgender people in a country like ours, where there's so much cultural difference and no understanding of gender? Let's just talk about LGBTQ at large, Karuna, and maybe some thought around that.
I think that our movements in India in particular have sort of brought this very important idea of queerness, of queerness as liberating for people who are also cisgender and heterosexual, right? I'm not going to elaborate on that. You'll have to look it up if you don't understand, for the larger audience, those who don't understand it. Because the idea is that sexuality is fluid and sex is also fluid, because it's not that, of course, most people come with female parts or male parts, but there's also a spectrum in between, right? And so to understand that we are all on the spectrum and that I may at a particular point be more female or have more male characteristics, that just frees you up from boxes. And I think once everybody recognizes that, inclusiveness of just different kinds of people gets opened up. And I think that's a huge contribution of our Indian queer movement.
Okay, the next one then is religion is predominantly misogynistic, both in scripture and text. What's your view on this? Are you an atheist? Somebody's asking.
No, I'm not at all. I believe in sort of larger forces. I believe in connections between people, and I believe in our connection with nature. And I suppose, I don't know what the word is. I meditate. I don't know what the word is, but I guess I would come closest to being a spiritual person. Yeah.
Okay. The next one.
Tanisha, can I jump in? Sorry.
Please do.
So again, Karuna, going back to what we were mentioning briefly about the Black Lives Matter movement, which is started off US, it's going global. Not talking about that one specifically, but why have we not seen that kind of fight spread in India? So we've had very little impact of Black Lives Matter transferring to Indian society, and we have a lot of kind of prejudice here. So why have we not seen it kick off here?
I think the closest to that would be Dalit Lives Matter. And the reason that we don't have a sort of larger movement there is because the discriminations are much worse. Like people have really been ground into the dust in such a strong way that that even a rising takes something. So we're seeing something of that. And I think that it's an opportunity. I'm certainly not going to speak on Black Lives Matter. It is not my place. But I think for us, it is a duty to introspect and to look at what we are doing in our blind privilege, to expropriate the money, health, lives of Dalits. If you look at the migrants, for example, I think that our current health is an expropriation from their lives. The fact that the lockdown benefited us and it took away from them. And so, and I'm making no bones about it, because I now see people talk about, and I have so much privilege, and the reason I think that a reckoning is important is because I now see people thinking of talking about privilege and saying, oh, but it's karma. No, it's not karma. It's like what caste is, like your privilege, your money, your caste is karma. No, it is an expropriation. So I think linking that our privilege directly to the disadvantage of others is important.
Super. I'm going to ask the last question, Karuna. Someone who wants to know, are you going to join politics at some point?
No.
Never.
Maybe in the far future, never say never, but...
Are all the political parties listening? She said never.
I think she believes too much in ethics to join politics.
This is thank you for saying it, because look, it's not that I haven't been asked. I have been asked, and then I said, well, how would you fund it? And they said, well, the party would finance it, and that's my problem, campaign finance, right?